All right. Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Just to let you guys know, as always, this call is being recorded. The product I'm highlighting this month is on the Salamander Live Self Registration feature. This is a new release, a new offering. It's made to assist account managers with the creation and management of personal records within Salamander Live. If you have kept up with our past releases, you may seen like bits and pieces of information on this feature. Today, you're going to get all the details and decide whether this feature is the right fit for your organization. So here's a general outline for what we're going to be covering today. We're going to take a look at what the Salamander Live self-registration feature is, the self-registration portal and registration process for new and existing profiles. And when I say profiles, I mean Salamander Live profiles, whether or not they have a personal record within Salamander Live. And then we're going to take a look at the registration approval process, which includes how to delete a registered profile and its history. Now, we have quite the information to cover in today's training, so if you have any questions during the training, um, please, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can send a message through the chat function, and I will answer them accordingly. So what is the Salamander Live self-registration feature? So this is a subscription-based feature that allows personnel to create and edit their own Salamander Live profile within the registration portal. So having this process in place, it's really there to help relieve administrators of having to manually enter or import large numbers of people into the Salamander Live system. So what happens is in that process is once someone submits their registration, the administrators who have access can review the information and choose to approve or deny it within Salamander Live. Now, as we go through the training today, and you're interested in seeing a quote or if you have more information, you can contact your local sales representative, or you can contact sales@salamanderlive.com for more info. So what happens when you first subscribe to the Salamander Live self-registration feature? Well, a couple things. One, the registration portal link and an access code is going to be emailed to the primary account administrator. So that access code is very important because it's a unique identifier for the account and is required for the registration process. So you have to provide that to those that you want registered in the system. So you want to make sure that you provide them the access code and the portal link. And second, Salamander is going to assign 2 additional roles to the primary account administrator. So the first one is the registration approval role. So when assigned, this role allows the user to approve or deny registration submissions. So as I mentioned, the primary account administrator is going to receive this role initially. From there, they can assign this role to other users at his or her discretion. The second role is going to be the registration account approval. So when this role is assigned, it allows a user to delete a registered phone number, which then permanently deletes all registration history that's tied to that phone number. So because this is a permanent process and this person just has a lot of power, the registration account approval role can only be assigned to users by Salamander and on a case-by-case basis. So if you have others that you want to have this ability to delete registrations, you must have the primary account administrator contact Salamander support. So you can email us or you can call us, and we'll review your account and then at that time um, provide you some recommendations on what you can and should do. So how does the self-registration process work? Well, for one, each person is going to need the following information and hardware. So first things first, they're going to need the Salamander Live Registration Portal link. I have it right here. So again, this is going to be emailed to you by our ops team when you subscribe to this. You'll also need your organization's access code. Again, that's going to be in that same email with this with the portal link. Third is you're going to need your phone number, which is very important. So this is your mobile number. Why is this mobile number important? Because this mobile number is going to be used to tie your registration. Okay, so that mobile number, when you register that, that's going to be tied to your actual profile. Okay. And then you'll also need your mobile device. Why do you need that? It's for code verification. So once you register your phone number, you're going to be receiving a 6-digit code verification that you'll need to enter in to the portal to start your registration process. Okay. So let's take a look at that registration process. I'm going to pull up this website. Here's the website. Okay. Oh, where'd it go? So here it is. So once you get to the website, have your people save this as a favorite because once they create their registration account, they'll be able to log in here to the same portal to manage their account so they can make edits once it's been approved. So first things first, at the bottom left-hand corner, you should see a click here link. So that's where you're going to start your registration. So what you're going to do is click here. And it's going to ask for that access code. So that access code is going to be that code that's provided to you by Salamander. Okay. So again, this is unique to every single account. So enter that access code in and then click submit. And then you're going to enter in your phone number. So this phone number is going to link your phone number to your account. And then you're going to click submit. And then you're going to go into your phone and you should receive a verification code. So verification codes can be 6 digits. It's going to include numbers and letters. It's going to be in all caps, but it's not case sensitive in this case, what you're entering in. Let me just double check that's correct. Okay. And then next is you're going to create your username and password. So I'm sorry, your email and your password. So that's going to be your username and login information for the portal. Make sure your password meets all the requirements. So again, at least 8 characters, 1 capital letter, 1 number, and 1 special character. Okay. Once you do that, go ahead and click submit. Once you click submit, it's going to ask you on whether or not you have an existing credential within Salamander Live. What it's asking is whether or not you have a existing Salamander Live record, a personal record. If no, and you're starting brand new, you can click no. If you're not for sure, you can click yes. So we're going to go through the new registration first, and we'll come back and I'll show you what you would do, what the process looks like if you have an existing. Okay. So we're going to say that no, we don't have one. So we're going to create a brand new profile. So we're going to click no. And it's going to take you a step forward to build your profile. So in here, you have a couple tabs at the top here. So very similar to what you would see within Salamander Live: a profile, info, details, your organization information, qualifications, medical, and the submit button. Now these tabs are not clickable, so the only way for you to move forward and back is by clicking the next button and back button. So you can't click next if there's any required information. It's going to stay grayed out until you fill in the required information. Okay, so let me just put in a name in here, birth date. Okay. Everything else in here is optional. So these are things that you'd probably want to put in process, if there's policy procedure for information and what you want every registrant to complete, you would probably want to put that information ahead of time so you know exactly what's going to be required of them to make sure that they get an approval. In here, you'll see that there's an option for you to upload a picture. So each registrant can go in here, upload their own image. They can click browse, find their picture. Let's say it's this one right here. Once they upload the picture, you're going to see that they have to crop the image. So there's this little box right here. So they can just drag and drop that, and then they can resize it, and then they can center it, and they'll see that there is a preview at the bottom. There is no limitations on resolution or sizing. This is just not a really good picture. So you can see that's a little bit blurred out in here. Okay. But so if you want to make sure that it's a nice clear picture where it's not blurry and cloudy like mine here. Once you're happy with the placing on this case and the image itself, all you have to do is click save cropped image. Once it saves it, that's the image that's going to be placed within your Salamander Live profile and then be printed off on their Salamander ID. Okay. Now that we finished the required information, the next button is available for us to click. So we're going to click next. It's going to take us to profile details. So here you'll see that now we have a back button. We can go back and forth now because since there's no required information on here. So again, if you require people to put in an address and driver's license information, language, and notes, feel free to do so. So again, they could just fill this out. Okay, city, just fill in a couple pieces of information here. Country, state. Okay. Languages, you'll see there's a bunch of different languages in here. Now just note that the language itself, if there's, again, this is a pre-populated list. If you don't see anything in here, or if you see something that should be in here that's not in here, you could just click on other as well. Make any notations that you want on your record and then click next. And then it's going to take you to the organization tab. From here, you'll need to select your organization. So remember that access code that you entered in earlier. So that access code is that unique identifier for your account. So as you start typing your organization name, it should pull up all the organizations that are underneath that account. So if you type in your organization, you don't see it listed here, you'll need to contact your primary account administrator. Okay, so maybe your account or your organization's not created, and they need to create that so that's available for selecting. Okay, so you go through your list on here, and then you can select your organization as you see it. Now, one thing to note about the primary organization, once you submit this, once it's submitted, you can no longer edit the organization. So it's one of the areas that you cannot edit is the primary organization. Once you submit it, the only individuals that can edit your organization is your organization administrators, and they have to do that through Salamander Live in your actual personnel record. Okay. Other things you can fill in here is standard hourly rate, overtime rate, station, title. So similar to what you would see within Salamander Live. As you know, our default standard designs actually have the title printed, so that's something you probably want your people to fill out. Click next, and then now you have qualifications. So qualifications, this case is going to look very similar to what you see within Salamander Live. So you'll always have that tier 1 folder. Again, that tier 1 is your federal, national type qualifications. This folder is managed by Salamander, so everybody has access to that tier 1. But if your account does not have any state, regional, local, or other qualifications created, no one's, your organization or any organizations under your account is not going to see a tier 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, this goes back to it's just pulling information of what you have currently available within your account and making it available here. So to add the qualifications, simply click on the folder. Okay. And go into NQS here, scroll down, find your qualification. So unlike Salamander Live, there isn't a quick add, so you do have to search for them to add them. Okay, so that's the one thing that's a little bit different from the portal versus the personnel record. Okay, so the person's going to have to find them. They just click on it to add it. Okay, once they click on it to add it, it's going to add it to the assigned column, very similar to what you would do within Salamander Live. Okay. There's any other ones, you can add those in. Okay. And there you see. So we've got our 3 qualifications added. Again, you can add as many as you need to in this case. In here, you can click on the plus button to add in a certification number, issue, and expiration date. Okay, so if that's something that you require your people to do, make sure that you put that in your internal policies that they have to fill that information in. Once they do that, they can basically, there's no saving in this case. Once you click next, it should save the information. Now, one thing, if you haven't noticed in this case, is that we don't have anything that's related to trainings. So The training portion of this will be added. It's not part of this initial release, but it will be added. I don't know when that's going to be, what the ETA is going to be on that, but probably more than likely a hot fix that will be added to, or be released to add in the trainings database in here. So you'll have the ability to, or your people will be able to have add qualifications and then any trainings that they completed. So any of those ICS type based trainings and such that's related there, they'll be able to add. Right now, as of today, only qualifications. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. Oops. Let me go back on here. Did I miss something? Okay, there it goes. I must have mistyped something. If you mistype something, you might get a little error on there. Just go back. Make sure the date follows the format, which is very important. Okay. You'll see that we have a medical tab in here as well, very similar to what you would see in Salamander Live. Again, this goes back to what you're wanting your people to fill in for their record. A couple things to notate on here is the allergies and medications. So this right here is very important how you fill that in. So I'm going to pull up my slide on here. I'm going to show you really quick for those that are visual learners. So under the medical tab, when you're adding a allergy, a medication, um, or emergency contact, keep the following in mind. So you can add as many as you need to, but you just have to add them one at a time. So when you're adding an allergy, click allergy, add one allergy, add it, and then add the next allergy. Okay. Another thing on here is do not add spaces at the beginning or end of an allergy or medication. If you do so, you're not going to be able to add it. Also, don't add any special characters in the allergy or medication name. And then another thing is that once the allergy medication is added, it cannot be deleted from the portal. So that process, the deletion of any allergies and medications, can only be done by an organization administrator through Salamander Live once the registration is approved. Okay, so be very careful about what you entered in for allergies medication. Make sure it's all spelled out correctly before you click that add button. So I see that there's a question that popped up in here. Let's see. Okay, question. Will there be any development that allows the account holder to configure what fields are required when doing a self-registration? For example, many states use the state driver's license number as a unique ID for a personnel record. Also, can self-registration be completed without the ability to sign qualifications? This might open up some concerns so people can sign any qual to their record. Okay, so Brendan, to answer your first question, right now, as of today, there's no custom. Um, I mean, that's more of a custom type request that you're asking to require those specific fields, because those specific fields for the states that you guys may have may require those fields like driver's license number, etc. However, other organizations or states may not. So that's something internal that those states will have to just make sure that they have their people fill out, unfortunately. There could be something that's more custom if they want to fund that. Absolutely, that's something that can be done. We can do custom designing of the self-registration portal, which we have done for one of our larger organizations out here in the Midwest. They're actually the ones that first requested this and funded that. So theirs is very particular to what they want and need for their organization. And from there, we've just made this available for all organizations for the entire market as a subscription based. Self-registration be complete without the ability to assign qualifications. In this case, if you don't want them to fill out qualifications, just have them completely skip that section. There is an approval process in this case where if they assign themselves qualifications and they don't, you as an organization do not want them to sign those qualifications, you can deny it during the submission, and then put in notes for them to remove those qualifications if that's the case. So every single submission has to go through an approval process where you're reviewing this information, making sure that all required information that your organization is requiring is completed, as well as making sure that they're not filling in information that they're not supposed to. You're welcome. All right, so going back in here, so what I was talking about for allergies in that PowerPoint presentation was if you add an allergy, you can go in here, you can add in, let's say it's bees, you can add one, okay? Okay, and then you can add in the next one. Again, just don't add any spaces or anything. If you add a space in there, you'll see that it actually grays out in this case. Okay, so you want to make sure that you only add one at a time. If you have another one, you can add the next one in here. Okay. So then you have your ones that you're adding. Medications, same thing. If you're adding them, just add one at a time. Mercy contacts, you can add these. Know that you are able to delete your mercy contacts. You just can't delete allergies and medications. Okay. Okay, and then phone number. So I'll show you in this case. I always put this in my trainings when I train anybody on this is put the relationship in parentheses. So you have all these information you can fill in for your Mercy contact, click add, and then you'll see that there's a delete button and an edit button that you can make changes to your Mercy contacts. So again, you can add as many as you need to for these fields right here. Once you're done filling in the information, simply click next, and it's going to take you to the submit button. So the submit tab, this is you verifying. So we have messages, in red right here for you to go back, review all your information, make sure everything is correct. Once you click submit and done, this is going to go into the approval process. Let's start that process. Okay. So once you submit as well, everything is on lockdown. So you can't go in and edit your information until it's been approved or denied. Okay. What you're also doing in here, and it tells you right here, is that when you click done, you're also giving your organization administrators and the system the permission to create a profile within Salamander Live. So it'll do that once approved. So it doesn't do that if your submission is denied. It only creates that record in Salamander Live once your administrator approves your submission. Okay. So I'm going to click done. It's going to get a little pop-up. So you're sure you want to submit your registration? Click OK. You'll see here it goes into the pending status. So there's 3 statuses in this case: pending, approved, and denied. Okay. You'll see in here what's in pending status. It's locked. The only thing you can do on here is you can view your profile. So this is just going to give you a quick snapshot of what you've submitted. Okay. So then in this case, it'll be up to your administrators to now approve it. So we'll look at the approval process afterwards. What I want to go through is the existing profile, and then we'll take a look at the approval process, because not everybody that's on the call here is going to be an administrator and that's going to be approving. That could be for select individuals. So we'll leave that at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to log out of this account, and know that if you start this process, let's say you didn't submit, but you started the process and you got pulled into another project or another task, and you don't complete it within your profile within that time frame, it's okay. You can always log out, log back in, and you'll be left off where you return back to where you left off earlier. Okay, as long as you click next, which basically saves whatever information you filled in on that tab. Okay, so I'm going to log out in this case. And then let's take a look at an existing profile. So existing profile is just a little bit different. Okay, so you have to go through the same process again. So if that person has an existing profile and you want your people to start managing their own profile going forward, I mean, it's already created, they already have a record within Salamander Live, but now you just want them to go in and manage that. Okay. They have to go through the same process. They still have to register for a registration account. Okay, so I'm going to click here, type in the access code again, click submit. They're going to type in their phone number for their registration. Click submit. Again, they have to verify. So they have to verify. Let me go to my text message in this case. Sometimes my text message comes through, sometimes it does not on this other phone. It's an older device. If it doesn't come through, I'll try it again. Let me try one more time. Give me a second to see if it pops through. The one thing about training this is that these phone numbers have to be real. So I had to take my husband's older phone to get this to work, and he's got a really, really old phone. Hasn't updated his phone yet. So let me try it again, see if it'll pick up this time. Oops. Sure that's correct. Click submit. The verification code doesn't normally take that long. It just depends on your phone. So here it is. Type that in. All right, so now it's in. Create a password and then the email in there, and then click submit. So on this screen, this is the difference. So if they already have an existing profile and that person knows they have an existing profile, so you might want to let your people know. If they're unsure, they can still click in here as well too. So you click maybe yes. What's going to happen is going to ask them to enter in their Salamander ID. So this is something that you'll probably have to provide them if they don't know what that is. So what is their Salamander ID? So this is their account. Okay, so in here, you go into Salamander Live. If you need to provide this for your people, you go into their record, and then this is what you're providing them as their ID number. Okay, so in this case, this person's ID is XYZ123. Okay, now I'm going to let you guys know, I think, Brendan, you asked this about this too, is the unique ID for a personal record. Okay, so by default, everybody that's registered through the portal is going to get a system generated ID. Okay. Now, once that ID is generated, they can go into the profile once it's approved, and they can change those ID numbers to something that's more custom. So that's the only thing on this is that they can't create the ID in this case, it's auto-generated. So when type in that code, there are the ID number, XYZ123. Type in the ID number for this person, click enter, and it's going to tell you if it finds a record. So it found the person's record. So here the person is. Yep, that's me. There's my birth date. That's how you can verify if that's you. Is you look at the birth date and your organization. Is that correct? You say, is that me? If it is, they click select. Once they click select, it's going to take them into their profile. All the information that is already collected through Salamander Live is going to pull over. Okay, so their profile picture, all the information, so they can go in here. Now they can manage their record. If there's anything they need to update at this time, they can go in and update. If they wanted to upload a new picture, because this is maybe an older picture, they can do that. They can go next. Maybe they moved. They want to change their address. They can go in and put that information in there. You'll see in here, as I mentioned earlier, when we were doing the new registration, that you can't update your organization. See, that's grayed out, something you cannot do. Again, org administrators have to do that. Maybe their hourly rate has changed. They want to update that, or their title has changed. Maybe they got a promotion. Again, you can update that information. Same thing with qualifications. They want to add in new qualifications or certifications. This is where they can do so. Medical information, same thing. Once they are done reviewing the information, they can resubmit their or submit their updates. Okay, they click done. Click OK, and now it automatically goes into pending process. Okay. Now, I forgot to mention this is that when you submit your registration, you will receive an email. It's going to come from Salamander Live Notifications, like every other email that's sent through our system. It's going to come from Salamander Live Notifications and lets you know that you have a status update. Okay, so you're gonna get this in your email. Okay, this person go review their information if they want to. Okay. All right, so I'm going to log out of this. I'm going to go back into my presentation in this case. So I talked about the registration statuses. There's actually 3. So again, just quick overview on this. All submissions are unlocked and in pending status until they're approved or denied by the organization administrator. Okay, we talked about that already. Um, the approval. So once approved, the approval status is going to change to approved, and then the person's going to receive an email to notify them of the status update. When a submission is approved, they'll also receive a update profile option. So that allows them to go in and edit and maintain their profile anytime. Just know that anytime a person makes any updates, they have to resubmit it, and that resubmittal will need to go back and through the approval process. Okay. And the last one is going to be denied. If your submission is denied, you'll see the denied option in there, and then you'll also receive an email of your status update. Now, when it's denied, there's a couple of things that you'll be able to see in there, and we're going to go through this process. You're going to see an option to review notes that was submitted by your administrator on why it was denied. They may have things that you're missing that you'd have to fill in. There's also an option for you to email the administrator and ask him any questions that you have. Okay. And then there's also going to be an edit option. So there's an edit button that you can go in, make the requested changes, and then resubmit it. When you resubmit it, it's going to put your submission back into pending status, and it'll go back to it'll be up to the administrator to review your submission again and approve it. Okay. So how does the approval process work? So first things first, to be able to approve or deny registrations, the user has to have a specific role assigned to them. So that role is called registration approval. We talked about this earlier in the presentation about this role automatically being assigned to the primary account administrator. And then from there, the primary account administrator can assign it to any other users that they want to have access to review submissions. Okay. So that's where it is. Once you assign the registration approval, again, you tie it to the organization that you want them to review some submittals for. Okay. So again, it's the same like any other roles. You can restrict them to specific organizations if you need to, or if you want them to be able to review it for the entire account, you put the parent organization in here and then just include children. Okay. So it just works like any other role. Once you have this registration approval role assigned to your user account, you will see in your menu option, you will see a option called self-registration approval in your left menu. It's going to be all the way at the bottom. Okay, it's going to be all the way at the bottom. From there, once you go in, so you're going to click on here, you're going to go into your self-registration approval list. Okay, so your list is going to include all registration submissions that you have access to. Again, this is going to be based off of what your primary account administrator has given you access to for which organizations. Okay, so you'll see in there type, there's a type field. So by default, you're going to get date submitted, received from, type, requester name, and requester organization. Okay. Under the type, you'll see either add or update. So add basically means it's a new registration. If you see update in there, that means it's an updated registration. Okay. Each registration submission, whether it's new or update, is going to appear as a separate line item. So this shows you the entire history. So Diana Argo, let's say she's a new ad. We approve it. She goes in, let's say 3 months later, updates information. You will see another line item in here. So it's never going to delete this original submission. You'll always see that listed in there. Okay, so you can always go in there and you can filter by requester name, Diana Argo, and you can see all the different submissions that she's made within, the past 3 months. Okay. The other thing that you'll need to add in here, so by default, these columns are hidden. So you have to add these because these columns will give you the ability to go in and do what you need to do. Okay. So you have to add in org date approved, org reviewed by, org status, and org submission notes. So org date approved is when it was approved or denied. Okay. Org reviewed by, so who was logged in and reviewed this. Org status, you're going to see either pending, approved, or denied in there. Again, it depends on what that administrator did with that submission. And then any submission notes, which comes and is required with a denied submission. So if you deny a submission, you're required to put in notes, and those notes will be listed here. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the first one. So approve. So we're going to take a look at the approval first. So if the information meets all your organization requirements on the submission profile screen, you just simply click approve. So once approved, there's a series of steps that happens. One, you'll see that under the self-approval list, you'll see that the status will change to approved. So it automatically returns you to your self-registration approval list. The person is going to get an email saying that there's a status update. And then at that time, once approved, the personal record for that requester is going to be created and posted to Salamander Live. So that's the approval process. So I'm going to pull up Salamander Live here so you can see this. So here it is. I am logged in. So here it is, self-registration approval. Let me make sure I have the correct account on here. Okay. Let me log out of this person's, log out next person. Why did I log out of that account? The reason why is because you cannot approve your own. So the approvals they're all tied to this email address. You see this? So if your email address, let's say this is my email address, and the approver or the requester's email address is the same, it's saying that you're the same person, you can't approve your own because it's looking at that email address. You're going to get an error code, or it's just going to get a spinning wheel. So that's very important. Is you cannot approve your own. So just make sure that your email addresses are tied to your user profile and your registration profile are not the same. So I'm going to go in here, self-registration approval. You'll see the date submitted, received from, type, accounts. And this one here, I'll remove these ones. We don't need account status, account reviewed by. Okay. Okay. So the account ones right here, don't add these. These are there. We only have one level of approval, which is the organization level. We have other organizations out there that have another level. It's called an account level approval. So again, that's not available through our standard offering. Okay. Oh, let me fix this order. There you go. All right, so I've added the columns in here. Again, you go to edit columns, add your columns, sort them in the way that you want them to. You can go in here and filter out your list. You can do by date, newest to oldest. You can do by organization. You can do by org status, by looking at all your pendings. It's really up to you and how you want to view your information here. But what you're really looking for is this right here. So how do you review and approve or deny a submission? It's simply as going in here and looking at it. So here's Harrison DeYoung. He was the one that actually had that existing record. Okay, that existing record. So we're going to go in here. We're going to click on the pending. It's going to take us into their submission profile. You're going to see all the information that they're submitting in this case. Okay. You'll see all the information. You'll see in here qualifications. So to answer your question, Brendan, if they added qualifications they're not supposed to, this is where you can go in and deny it. Okay. Okay. So in this case, if everything looks good and you're like, yep, everything looks great in this case, we're going to approve it. All you do is click approve. You click approve. It's going to go through the approval. You'll see there, it's the status has been changed to approved. You can always click on it again to review, to look at it again. Okay. But again, once it's approved, it's going to state it's approved. What's going to happen is the person's going to get a email. So this is what the email says. It's just real basic. Okay. So here's the email. And then Brendan, I saw your question. I will be answering that quickly here as I show this. So you'll see the email. It just comes from Salamander Live Notifications, lets them know that there's a profile status update on their registration. They need to log in. So this click here to log in takes them to the registration portal. Okay, not to Salamander Live, it takes them to the registration portal. Okay. So that's what happens there. Okay. In this case, I'm gonna log out of here real quick. Let's take a look at that. So you can't be logged in as Salamander Live and the registration portal at the same time. It causes errors. So I'm gonna log in here to that person's account. You'll see that it should change to approved. There it is. So Mr. Harrison DeYoung, you'll see that the status in there is now approved and it's posted to Salamander Live. You'll see the check mark right there. So a record has been or created or updated within Salamander Live. Okay. From here, they have the option to go in here and update their profile. So they can click on update, they can go in, change whatever information that they need to. Again, if they go through this process again and they submit it, it's going to have to go through reapproval again. Okay. So that's that process. Now for a denial, let's look at a deny. So I'm going to log into this other login. I'm going to go in here, registration approval. So we're going to look at Rhonda Tomlin. So we're going to look at the pending status. You can take a look in here. So you'll see a picture in there. You'll see all the information the person submitted. Now, one thing I do want to notate on here is that you'll see in here there's pieces of information that's missing, the medical information. So medical information is not included in the approval process. So they're not going to see this in the submission profile. But let's say that the image is too blurry and you want them to fix that. Okay. So in this case, you can put your notes in here. Please upload a new photo. Current one is blurry. Okay. So you have to put, if you're going to deny a submission, you have to put in notes. You have to put in notes. So once you put in the notes in here, you can click deny. Okay. Once you click deny, it's going to go back, take you back into the registration approval process, and you'll see denied in there. Okay. So this is the process for this. Okay. So they're going to take you back into the approval list. You'll see denied in there, and then any of your entered notes is going to appear under the org submission notes column. The requester is going to receive an email notification regarding the status update. So again, they'll receive that email letting you know that something has changed on their submission. Okay. So in this case, if you go in here, if there was any notes, you would see the notes in here, which if I scroll over, I'll see my notes in there. See right here. Please upload a new photo. Current one is blurry. Okay. Now, if that person was to log into Salamander Live, they would see that as well. Okay. So I'm going to log in. So you'll see in here, denied. So D, denied. If they're like, why did it get denied? You'll see in here, there's these little icons at the bottom here. So it's not posted to Salamander Live since it was denied. So if I want to know exactly why my submission was denied, I can click on the little clipboard and it'll show the notes. So it's telling me that please upload a new photo. Current one is blurry. Oh, okay. They didn't like my picture. It's fine. Easy, right? Easy to fix. In this case, if they have any questions, they want to contact the administrator. So the one that approved it or denied, or I'm sorry, the one that denied it, it's going to go to their email. So if I click on the email icon, it's going to pop up your emails in here, and then you can go in and write an email to them. Okay. So in this case, if they need to update their picture, they can just go in here, edit. You'll see that they have an edit option in here. They can go in here, they can edit their picture, delete that one, upload their new picture. I don't know if anything's clear in here. This is probably the clearest one. Here's Anna. There, so much clearer. Okay, so they've got a new picture in here. They click next, next, next. Everything else is good because the only thing that was requested was the picture change. Click next, and then done and submit. Okay, so now it goes back to pending. Goes back to pending. Once it goes back to pending, the person that's approving would have to go back to Salamander Live. They can go in here. They can see it's back to pending. You see that? Back to pending. They can go in here and then they can look at it. Yep, picture, everything is good. You see in here, my notes are still in here. And I can go in and I can approve it. Okay, now it's approved. Let's see. I know that, Brendan, you had a question. Let's look at your question. So, question, if a person already has an account in Salamander Live, but is using self-registration to belong to a different new organization, does the person use their existing account information or would the person need to create a new account to belong to that new organization? Okay, so two things on here. So if they already have an account and you don't want them to go in and fill in all the information again, you would prefer to tie their existing account in, even though it's the wrong organization. You can you can tie their existing account with the wrong organization in there once they submit it and you repost it again so they have an account. You can go here and you can change it, or you can change it ahead of time. It just make sure that you don't do that change during the registration process. So you can do it before or afterwards. So in this case, let's say I'm gonna clear this. Let me go to my people. Let's say the person that's looking to register for account is John Always. Okay. John Always currently belongs to Moosewood County Mercy Management. So maybe he doesn't belong to Moosewood County Mercy Management anymore. He belongs to a different organization. Organization, when you can only add that when you first register for a registration account to create a new profile. If he already exists in the system, you'll want to have the administrator go in here, change the organization first to their current existing one. Okay, see this? So let's say he's now public health. I'm going to save it so that it's now tied to public health. Now, when he goes and registers for an account and puts in his ID number, it will put him with Moosewood County Public Health and not with the Emergency Management Agency. Does that make sense? So it's just whether or not you want that person to go back through the entire process. Because either way, if he creates a new registration with John Always and he puts it with Moosewood County Public Health, he's going to have two records within Salamander Live. Okay, he's going to have one that's with the County Emergency Management and one with his new one that he entered in with Public Health. So you'll have to, as administrator, you'll have to go into Salamander Live and delete that original existing record. Does that make sense? Oh, I'm sorry, Kara. Sorry, I said Brendan, but Kara, I apologize. And I can show you that process as well, so that you can see that in live in action. Because remember, every time you do an approval, especially for a new registration, it creates a new profile in here. So if you want them to be able to use their existing profile where they don't have to do a lot of updating in there, maybe they just have to update one or two qualifications, and you don't want them to start fresh, then you want to tie it to their existing record. So to belong to more than one organization, they would have to have two accounts in Salamander. So here's the thing with registration. Registration is tied to a phone number. Okay, so the only way for them to have two separate um, registration accounts is they have to have two separate phone numbers. So if they have two um, profiles, let's say they belong to public health and belong to emergency management, if they want to be able to manage both accounts through the portal, they'll need to have two separate phone numbers registered. So maybe they have, public health registered to their work number, and then maybe emergency management registered with their personal number. So that's the case with this. So you have to be kind of careful about registration because they can only have one account, one profile tied to one phone number. Waiting for your question that's populating. Sorry, everybody. Kara's typing here, so I'm just waiting for her message. Okay, good, great. Now what I want to talk about is deletion. So if you're looking at deleting a registration, which could be for multiple reasons, why a person would want to delete their registered account. It could be because they have a new phone number. So again, we talked about that phone number being extremely important with the registration, since that registration is tied to that phone number. So if that person gets a new phone number, and you want to tie their account to that new phone number, you'll have to go in, delete that phone number from, or that phone number and its registration and its history tied to that phone number. So that's very important. The other reason why you want to delete a registration is if that person's no longer with your organization. They've been termed, and you want to delete that so that they don't have access to the portal anymore. Okay. So with that itself for deletion, that is where that secondary role, the registration account approval, comes into play. So that is this role right here. So let me go back in here. This is this role right here. I'm going to go into my account so you can see this. So again, this is that role that only a select number of people should have. Not every person should have this role right here. Again, this is where we're going to be very selective, and when we're recommending who should have this role. So registration account approval, you see that? This is the role that allows deletion. So if I wanted to go ahead and delete one, let's say this person, Rhonda Tomlin, now has a new phone number. Okay, I can go in here, I can delete that phone number and that registration. Okay, so that they now have a new phone number that's tied to that registration. So I can go to self-registration approval. If you have the role, the registration account approval role, you will see a gears icon at the top. If you don't have that approval, or that permission, you're not going to see this at all. Okay, so it's an administrative gear tool. So if I click on that, I can go in here and I can find the phone number. Okay, so if I type in the phone number, so this is, let's say this is the phone number I'm looking at deleting, or this is the phone number I'm looking at deleting. If I if I click on that to search for it, it's going to tell me here's a phone number that's associated to the following email. So here it is. If I click delete, it's going to delete the registration, as well as it has a cascading effect. It's going to delete everything regarding that phone number and all its history of registrations, any updates, any added, anything. So the entire profile is going to be gone. It's permanently gone. We cannot get that back, cannot undo that. Okay, so if that happens, you'll have to re-register the person. So what this is doing is just deleting that registration account. It is not deleting their profile within Salamander Live. Okay, so if you do this on accident, you can have that person re-register and then relink their account. Okay, so it's not like it's the end of the world. It's just they have to go through that registration process again. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, so record deleted. I'm going to close on that. You'll see that it deletes the entire history. So everything that's related to that phone number is completely gone. I'm going to delete this other one as well too, because I'm actually using these two phone numbers for this process. So I'm going to delete the other one as well too. Okay, clear, close. Oops. Delete. Okay, close. Okay, so in this case, it's the same process as existing. Same process as existing when we talk what we walk through. Okay, so in this case, in the portal, they're re-registering their brand new phone number. So Rhonda Tomlin, okay, Rhonda Tomlin needs to register her new phone number. So she has to go through that registration process again. So what we would do in here, click here, type in the access code for her organization or account. Type in her brand new phone number. What is her new number? Not the one that she registered before. What is her new number? Okay. Click submit. Once I click submit, it's going to get the registration code. You're going to type in that registration code. And then she needs to create a new, or she can use the same one as well too. Okay. She needs to create a she can use the same email, same password as what she did before if she wanted to. Okay. And then she's going to click submit. It's going to ask her, does she have a current Salamander Live profile or credential? In this case, yes, she already created one. She's just changing her phone number. This case, you're going to click maybe yes, and then she's going to type in her ID number, which I'm going to need to go get. Let me 1 second here. Doesn't kick me out of the system. So I'm going to go grab her ID. Here it is. So I'm going to type that in here, enter it. It's going to find her record, say, yes, this is me. I'm going to select, and now you'll see that her new phone number is tied. Okay, so this actually, the phone number and anything doesn't take place until the approval is completed. So that's important. The approval needs to be completed before this new phone number is going to reflect in that person's Salamander Live profile. So even though they go through this process, they click next, 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 it doesn't take place until the approval is done. So you see this pending status. So it has to be approved first before this change can happen. Okay. So now the person can log in here, and now they can go in and approve it. Once they approve it, it should change the phone number. You see here pending. This is the phone number that they're looking at. You see here, they're approving, and then approve. So approved in here. Okay. And then there it is, phone number changed. All right. Any questions on this? Any questions? Now there is just one report that's available. It's the CSV export. As you guys know, this CSV export report is controlled by the different columns and the filters that you have set in here. So again, it's just pull everything that you see here in your list and make it available in the CSV report. And from there, you can filter and do what you need to on that CSV report. Any questions? All right. So what do we have for training resources? So right now, what we have, if you go into our website, I'll show you this real quick here. We do have um, a flyer if you're interested in learning more about that. It's under resources. Go to our website, go to media, and then scroll down. You should see a flyer down here for self-registration. Here it is. Here's the flyer. It tells you a little bit more about what we covered today. Again, if you're interested in another demo or you're interested in getting a quote, contact sales@salamanderlive.com or contact your local sales rep. Okay. What we have, I will have this video posted in Salamander University. It's not going to be today. It probably will be after next week's training because we have the same training we're covering again next week, Wednesday. So if you want to see this again, come back, or if there's other people, maybe a decision maker that you're needing to see this so you can get it approved to purchase this, subscribe to it, have them join in next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, because I'll be running this training one more time. And then after that, I'll have one of those videos posted into either Salamander University, but for sure it'll be up in our YouTube account. So if it's not in Salamander University, just email me and I'll send you the direct link to our YouTube channel that has this video in there. We will have a user guide, so that user guide will be posted in Salamander University that walks through everything I just did today. And then we'll have some just basic training videos as well, too, very similar to what you've seen before with our other products and features in here. So there will be one in here called self-registration. More than likely, it might be under it's probably going to be on its own under self-registration, or I might add it under advanced features. I'm not sure yet, but it'll be one of there. All right. Other than that, that's all I have for you guys with 1 minute to spare. So 1:59. So I'll open up the floor for any questions, any comments about today's training. Again, we realize this is a new release, new feature. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all. Here is my contact information that you can always um, reach me at. So training at salamanderlive.com. If you work with me before, I'm sure you know my exact email, leah.holtrop@orangehook.com. So you're welcome, Brendan. Thank you for joining in. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for your time. Please have a wonderful day. Enjoy the cooler weather as we have it up here in the Twin Cities. All right. Thank you, Kara. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.